FINRA Rule 1010 is the foundational administrative rule governing how broker-dealer member firms and their associated persons submit registration, transfer, and termination filings. These forms are submitted to FINRA through the Central Registration Depository, the electronic database that serves as the backbone of the securities industry's registration infrastructure. This system also powers BrokerCheck, through which any member of the public can research the registration history, examination record, and disciplinary background of any representative. Rule 1010 establishes that all forms required under FINRA bylaws, including Form U4, Form U5, and Form BD, must be submitted electronically through the CRD system. For every professional, Rule 1010 governs the mechanics of how regulatory status is established, maintained, and terminated throughout their career in the securities industry. The CRD was developed jointly by FINRA and state regulators through NASA, creating a centralized database that satisfies federal and state requirements simultaneously. When a firm submits a Form U4 through the CRD, it satisfies FINRA and state requirements at once, eliminating the need for separate filings. The system maintains a permanent record that follows an individual, regardless of firm or jurisdiction changes, covering exams, firms, and all regulatory disclosures. The Form U4 is the primary document submitted to register or transfer an associated person, requiring comprehensive disclosure of their history. An initial Form U4 must disclose the individual's employment history for the preceding 10 years and residential history for the preceding 5 years. The disclosure questions in Section 14 are among the most consequential, requiring reporting of criminal matters, customer complaints, and financial events like bankruptcies. Registered individuals are under a continuing obligation to update their Form U4 within specified timeframes, generally 30 calendar days for most changes in circumstances. However, certain serious matters, including specified criminal charges, must be reported more urgently, within 10 calendar days of the event occurring. Rule 1010 also mandates that fingerprint information be submitted within 30 days of FINRA's receipt of the electronic Form U4 to enable background investigations. If fingerprint information is not submitted within 30 days, the person's registration is deemed inactive, and they must cease all activities requiring registration immediately. FINRA will administratively terminate a registration that remains inactive for 2 years. Reactivation then requires reapplying and meeting all qualification requirements as a new registrant. Since 2021, Form U4 may be based on an electronic signature obtained through FINRA's approved process, though firms must still comply with record retention rule. The Form U5 is submitted when an association ends, whether through resignation or discharge. Firms must file it within 30 days of termination. Firms must disclose the reason for termination and whether the individual was under internal review for fraud or wrongful taking of property at departure. The firm must concurrently provide a copy of the Form U5 to the terminated individual, giving them notice of the information reported. Information from these filings translates into a publicly accessible resource on BrokerCheck, detailing current and previous registrations, examinations, and disciplinary history. Rule 2267 requires firms to inform customers annually of BrokerCheck, connecting Rule 1010 filing requirements directly to the core mission of investor protection. Firms must identify a registered principal responsible for supervising electronic filing. This requirement connects Rule 1010 to the broader supervisory framework of Rule 3110. Failures to file timely and accurate Forms U4 and U5 are among the most common subjects of FINRA disciplinary actions against member firms. In summary, Rule 1010 mandates all registration forms be filed electronically via the CRD, creating a centralized, standardized record for the entire industry. Individuals have a continuing obligation to ensure their Form U4 is updated, while firms are responsible for timely U5 submissions within 30 days. This administrative process bridges regulatory mechanics with public accountability, providing investors with the transparency needed to evaluate securities professionals. For your Series 7 or 65 exams, mastering Rule 1010 means understanding the link between accurate filing, regulatory oversight, and public transparency.